Hey everyone, Lisa Freed here, and welcome to Rebel Hearted. This podcast show is just for you, those of you that are wanting to embrace who you are and not let anything hold you back. I am so freaking excited. I've got NJ Shelsby here with me today. She is a personal development coach who helps business owners take action to be seen and show up big in the world. Oh, yes. She has an uncanny ability to quickly get to the heart of what's holding you back and then clear it out so that you can go further than you ever thought possible. NJ, I'm so grateful to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. And I can't wait to hear your top 3 tips to uncover the inner game cat. Bleh. Wow. So that, you know what? This is going to be fun. NJ, can you tell us the name of the top 3 tips that you're going to go through for us today?
I sure will. And thanks, Lisa. I am so happy to be here. So the now you've got me doing it. The top 3 tips to uncover the inner game crap that's holding you back.
Yes, I love it. And it's so important, right? Because lots of times when we're we think we have to do it all on our own, right? And we're like, I'm going to do it, but we can't see the forest through the trees. So I'm so grateful that there are women like you in the world to help us do this.
Yeah, thanks. And success is not something that we're all programmed for. I mean, if you just think about it from an evolutionary perspective, right? Like our bodies were programmed for survival, not, creating this successful business. And having a successful business, and a lot of times it goes against the natural programming, right? Because, back in the day, we were in tribes. And if you did something that offended the tribal leaders and you got kicked out, you would die. And so our nervous systems are programmed to, want people to like us, not be different, to fit in, not to be rejected and all of that kind of stuff. And so it can be really hard to do the things that you need to do to grow your business. And, some people luckily received programming growing up that made it very easy for them. They got the parents who were, rah, rah all the time. You can do it. They had all the perfect teachers that supported them. They lived in a neighborhood with kids and friends that supported them, that didn't bully them. But I think that that's rare.
Very rare.
Yeah. And the other thing that I have noticed is people who played competitive sports, that they have, they've worked through kind of a programming of their brain to be able to push through things that the body thinks is unsafe. And so if you look at a lot of the people out there who are successful, they were in some way, athletic, whether, they were on the cross team in high school. I mean, the cross country team in high school, or they played professional sports, or in some way, or people who are, they have a sales background. So they've had to deal with that programming of getting over rejection, or the people who are desperate. It's like, if I don't make money right now, my kid's going to starve. Those people, it's easier for them to take the actions that they need to take to grow a successful business. But for the rest of us who aren't going to starve if we don't take our business to the next level, and haven't done some kind of work to change the programming in our mind, we get stuck and we're not able to show up online and, do videos, or, put out those podcast requests, or any of those things that can be scary that you have to do to grow your business.
I hear you so hard right now. Like, I was going through that list that you were like, yeah, they've got the raw parents. Check. Yeah. Like, I got that. I was there. Oh, grew up with a community of people that didn't bully you. Right. Nope. Sorry. I don't fit in there. Yeah. I was competitive. I competed in equestrian sports growing up, and my parents were entrepreneurs. I've got a lot of those boxes checked, but some remain unchecked. Yes. So for those of us that don't have like that whole storybook picture perfect setup for success. Can you tell us, like, walk us through those top 3 tips to help us uncover that inner game crap that's holding us back? Wow, that's a tongue twister.
Can. Yeah, it is. Well, the first thing that you want to do is to really think about what going big would look like for you, and really get that into your head, whether that means, showing up on a stage of, 5,000 people, or being on, Super Soul Sunday or Ellen DeGeneres stage, or just having $1 million business, just whatever that looks like, get it in your mind. And then the first tip is to ask yourself, what would be the worst part of that? And when you say something like, oh, it would be great, I suggest that you pause and say, yeah, but if there was something that wouldn't be great about it, what would it be?
Yeah, we went through this yesterday, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, all the travel. And what comes to mind as I'm listening to you now, I'm like, if I want to fly around and speak on stages all over the world, do you know how many times I have to go through airport security?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So once we've asked ourselves, like, what would be the worst part, where do we go from there?
Yeah. Well, then, write all of that down and, because then you can kind of start dealing with it. What is unknown will totally control you. And then the second tip would be to ask yourself, who wouldn't like it? And this is where the judgments of, family members will come into play. And generally we have, one person that, we're always worried about them reading our Facebook posts or whatever, that, that one person that we will make ourselves small in order to not have that person, kind of rear up on us and tell us how we shouldn't be saying things like that. So that's step 2. And just write all those people down. And the third step is to deal with the programming in your nervous system. And that is, again, get it very clear in your mind, whatever going big looks like for you, and then scan your body from head down to your toes and notice where the discomfort is in your body. And what that sensation is, that we generally don't even consciously realize it, but it's the neurons firing and releasing neuropeptides that produce that feeling. And now our unconscious mind reads this discomfort faster than your conscious mind even is aware that it's happening. And then it tries to distract you from taking the action. And so by being aware of that feeling being there and sitting with it and allowing it to be there until the neurons just kind of get worn out and they're not able to do it anymore. And then you just keep re-triggering the thought, you're able to break that connection so that your unconscious mind isn't trying to distract you from taking an action just because your nervous system has been programmed to think that it's unsafe.
I really like that, because a lot of times we'll be like, oh, I feel this way, right? Because that's all triggered within our nervous system. So it means I can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But it's just programming, and you just have to reprogram it.
Now, I have a question for you, because you're like, I want you to think about like what it would be like, what's your big vision for yourself? What going big would look like for you? And does it matter how big is?
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's about the individual, right? Because for somebody, just standing up on a stage with 5 people in the audience would make them break out into a sweat. But for another person, they wouldn't mind until it was 500 people or 1,000 people. And so it's just a matter of what is bigger for you. And then you can keep ratcheting it up, but you just have to get your nervous system comfortable with it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So and if you're not uncomfortable, you're playing too fucking small. I mean, that's just the reality. So you need to keep going until you feel that discomfort.
Yes. Okay. So it wouldn't be like hanging out with me unless I made somebody uncomfortable or slightly awkward, which
Right.
is like, it's a superpower of mine. So I would love to hear from you, NJ, what your big vision is. What does going big look like for you?
I want to travel all over the world, different countries where there are tribes that are kind of in place that I can show up and go on the stage and really help people see that they are playing too small of a game, and help them to bust through some of the barriers that they have placed on themselves. Because I think that we are all playing too small, and it's just this iterative process to keep expanding your vision as to what you can. I mean, I think Oprah's playing it too small, right? I mean, it was her vision for this network was big at the time that she started it, right? But now it's like, come on, do something else, go big, I think that we all have it in us to go bigger, and our only limitation is our thoughts and our programming in our brain that tells us that we can't do more. And so I want to help women specifically, because I think this is a bigger issue for women than men. And I think that the planet needs more women stepping into power, and to help them really bust through that and to express their gifts in the world.
Amen. So if you're a woman and you're listening to this and you're like, wow, I really want to show up bigger in the world and I need some help to have somebody stand with me and help clear out what's holding me back, where can those people that are like nodding their head, yes, 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 where can they find you, NJ?
They can find me at my website, njshelsby.com. NJ short for Norma Jean, Shelsby, SHELSBY.com.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And for those of you listening, if you're like, yeah, wow, I love these top 3 tips, especially, to help me uncover the inner game crap that's holding me back, make sure that you let NJ know that you were listening, that you loved it. Let me know, share it with people that you know could stand to hear these top 3 tips. And if you're listening and you're like, I've got a set of top 3 tips of my own and I want to be on the show, reach out to me, Lisa Freed. I would more than happily bring you on as a guest to connect with you and have a conversation. We'll be back again Thursday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Bye for now.